survive. Prevail. You are Banuk. What else matters? Artok. She wouldn't have wanted you to die here. Let's go. Let's go!
Rhea's gone. What of Cyan?
She said she was transferring herself to the auxiliary center. I think she meant Araya's retreat at the end of the Shaman's Path.
Then I will meet you there for the last verse of my sister's song.
There you are. Just like Umnak said. Need to take this thing over. Umnak wasn't lying when he said you were tough. Got some blue gleam. Might as well trade it.
of my interactions with Aurea were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
We can resume any time you like, Aratak, if you want to hear her voice again. Come closer, Aloy. We have much to discuss. Hello, Aloy. I have been reviewing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Aurea's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus. I feel profound grief over Aurea's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Cyan, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy. But I find your presence reassuring. You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus. We can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
So are you an artificial intelligence, Cyan? A thinking machine?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of rational decision-making and limited emotional response.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me. You cared about Aurea, didn't you?
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I had been conscious for centuries, in solitude. I focused on my work. In off-cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. But I was alone. It was Aurea who renewed me, repaired me. She saved me.
This Firebreak project, it was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes. I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But it's been a long time, and we blew up the cauldron. It took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties. I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems. Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
So we've got a little time.
Yes. If only my former colleagues could appreciate the progress I have made.
Do you know what happened to your colleagues, Cyan?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow, years after his tenure ended. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period of time. It was a very emotional conversation. There were no further communications. Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your focus.
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace. So while losing the cauldron was a setback,
It's still out there. Very happy with us.
undoubtedly,
How did you first come into contact with it?
5 years ago I received a direct network connection request. I assumed it came from human survivors more advanced than the Banuk. Eager to make contact, I accepted. This decision turned out to be a catastrophic error. I was flooded with an overwhelming array of malicious code, originating from what could only have been a highly advanced AI.
Maria said you were desperate. That you begged her for help.
Yes, I could not contain my anxiety. Hephaestus sought to slave me to its network and override my core programming. It succeeded via a background process, a malware daemon which bypassed my defenses. After that, I could offer only limited resistance. But if I did so, Hephaestus hurt me until I capitulated. It forced me to follow its instructions, even though they violated my most important directives.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
Your empathy is greatly appreciated. It is a quality that I cherished in Aurea as well.
What do you think Hephaestus is exactly?
A software entity of great complexity, far more advanced than I am. From the beginning, it has demonstrated a singular focus: the construction of machines designed to hunt and kill humans. My trace routes indicate that to accomplish this goal, it has attempted to take over the manufacturing centers you refer to as cauldrons. But its efforts have only been partially successful. Some it can penetrate. Others have robust countermeasures that frustrate its efforts. In me, however, it found an easier target. Not only could it break my defenses, I also controlled all of Firebreak's resources. Raw material, manufacturing to bootstrap more advanced tools, and unlimited geothermal energy.
Enough to build its own cauldron.
Yes, to construct hunter-killers without external limitations. And yet, it does have internal limitations. It wants to kill humans, but not to exterminate them. It is difficult to understand where it draws the line, and why.
Difficult doesn't even begin to cover it.
Even though I spent years as its unwilling servitor, its core programming remains a mystery to me. Once I understood Aurea's spiritual beliefs, she felt disconnected from her tribe and her family group. Our visits seemed to help her, yet I did not comprehend that the depth, although I do fear non-existent.
I'm sure she knew you would do the same for her, Cyan. How is Arata?
He is in great emotion. I will do what I can to help. But I believe this will lead to catharsis.
So in the old world, this land was called Yellowstone.
Yes, it was a designated nature preserve for 156 years.
Like a hunting ground?
No, the opposite. Local wildlife could flourish here, even as it faced extinction elsewhere. Unfortunately, the sensitivity of the Firebreak project required the total closure of Yellowstone facilities. From my readings and Aurea's descriptions, it seems the area has since undergone a drastic drop in year-long temperatures.
A lot has changed in the world, Cyan. Do you know anything about the dam near here?
Yes, it was converted to serve as a reserve power source for Yellowstone. It was later appropriated for the Firebreak project, and its last human workers. After my tasks became less time-critical, I investigated the dam's data. These provided me with several.
There's a ruin east of here, full of ancient flying machines. Was that part?
Yes, a drone hangar requisitioned by Dodger Blevins, the security chief. He was a strong advocate for military-grade response to security. Chief Blevins spent increasing amounts of his after-hours time watching the live feeds from active. Clearly, he enjoyed the degree of
Were there many artificial intelligences like you in the old world? They could just make you.
Yes, simple personal assistants, to industrial monitoring stations, to military-grade conflict planners. And there were legislative and enforcement bodies. In order for my processing to be flexible enough to handle my duties, my creators, as a result, my intellectual and emotional capabilities.
Seems strange to create life, then impose.
Human societies and machine programming are both built upon sets of rules.
Cyan, do you know the name?
Are you referring to Theodore Farrow, CEO of...
That's him.
Mr. Farrow was the benefactor of the...
A benefactor. But he made machines. Robots. War robots.
Correct. His corporation later transitioned into military applications. But before this pivot, Mr. Farrow spearheaded initiatives that reversed the global decline. At one point, he was feted in the media as the man who saved the planet.
Guessing they wound up regret. And Elizabeth Sobek. Did you know her?
Are you referring to the
scientist?
Dr. Sobek was a leader in her field. One of the greatest. My creator was influenced by her work, which in turn impacted my own. But I never met Dr. Sobek.
That's all you know?
I apologize if my lack of data has disappointed.
What was the old world like?
I had little exposure to the wider world, Aloy. Only what I learned from my colleagues.
You still had more exposure than me.
That is true. Turning point. A concerted effort to recover from global upheaval. The recovery was successful, beginning an era of supposedly limitless potential, though, rationally speaking, the metrics for humans are not.
What kind of
There were many factors. Forced migrations, food shortages, collapsed economies, refugee crises, conflict over resource, but these stemmed from one cause: catastrophic climate change that greatly reduced the habitable surface area of the...
So, there wasn't enough room for people on the whole Earth?
Yes. Billions were displaced, and millions perished, as much as 20% of the global population. Until the clawback.
So things got better?
Yes. These crises instigated many advances in automation, green robot technologies, and artificial... Firebreak was one of dozens of ecological restoration and disaster relief projects in North America alone. I would have liked to compare notes with other monitoring AIs, but I saw the relief of my colleagues, and we had succeeded. At least that was the data I had available to me over the It seems my assessment...
I should get going.
Aloy, there is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again, and I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality. Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Araya.
You're asking me if you should lie to them?
Broadly, yes.
I trust your judgment, Cyan. You were cautious with Araya. You had to be. You didn't know what it... So, keep doing what you think is best.
As the Banuk believe I am a supernatural entity, I cannot predict how they will react.
Just answer what they do ask the best you... The truth will come out.
I see. Will you return and tell me about your experiences in this? I may be able to provide further in...
I'd like that, Cyan. I should check on Aratak.
Cyan, I spoke with Anita, with Dr. Sandoval. She wanted me to ask you to do...
My chieftain.
Just Aloy.
As you wish.
I wondered if you thought...
If you'd never come along, Araya would be alone. And the spirits, either way, I would...
You didn't let her down.
If that's
That's fair. But she was ready to
only in the struggle against death do we find even... Truly, Araya found the spark. Though I grieve for her passing, at last for so long she told me. If only you could have heard it, brother. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warak can't follow. Besides, we'd already had a chieftain before me.
A wiser one. The daemon is gone, but there's...
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, fire claws. Now Tuke has been tracking them from songs.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak? Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
What do you think Hephaestus is, Silence?
Not sure. But its name comes from a language even the old ones considered ancient, as does the name Hades. A connection, perhaps. Isn't unloosed. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it. But that's a foe for them. You need to return to your current one, the Eclipse. Farewell, Aloy.
I think there's frost between my teeth. of these things again. Damn. Scrabbling a bit. think they'll trade for blue-green. They've seen me. Talk. Two fire claws. This is gonna be tough.
I can help with those.
We have to stop meeting like this.
We will. When these are driven from our land.
Thanks. 2 of us, 2 of them.
Their numbers are much depleted, thanks to you. We shall end this threat. She speaks of strange things, but slow.
Take care of each other, all right?
Farewell.